Welcome to the Meeple Bunker, everyone. Today we're going to be taking a look at a little filler game called Dice of Crowns. This is a game of rolling dice, stabbing your friends in the back, set collection, and kind of press your luck. So for 2 to 6 players, ages 10 plus, typical game will take maybe 15 to 20 minutes. So it's from Thing 12 Games. Let's get it to the table and take a look. Before we begin my review of Dice of Crowns, I just want to take a minute and talk about the quality of the components. Quality is top-notch. You've got a nice embossed mint tin here. I believe this was a BGG, Board Game Geek, mint tin competition game. I'm not sure how well it did, but it did well here on my table. You've got these nice etched dice. You've got the nice, good, heavy quality little buttons or tokens here that are plastic. The dice themselves bear a little bit of discussion. They have the etched faces that are used for the different things. You have basically 2 skulls on each dice. You have 2 of these scrolls on each side of the dice. You have a crown, which is what you're trying to gain for victory typically. And then you also have the daggers for backstabbing your opponents. And that's how that's distributed on the dice. So also very interesting, you have the instructions, which are on basically a kind of paper, or not really paper, but they don't absorb any water, it won't stain, it does not tear. So let's talk about the gameplay. In a round of Dice of Crowns. So what do? Well, the first player will take all 7 of the dice, and they'll begin by rolling all the dice. So what do we have here? We have a mix of 4 of the different, or 3 of the different symbols. We've got 2 of the daggers, we've got 1 skull, and we've got 4 of these scrolls. Daggers, when you roll them, are locked. You can't do anything with those. If you get 3 of these, your turn immediately ends. You can't collect any victory tokens. And you're trying to collect these victory tokens, and the way to do that is you have to roll and lock down either 5 of these skulls or 3 of these crowns. And crowns also lock and cannot be re-rolled on your turn. Skulls can be re-rolled. Now what about the scrolls? Well, the scrolls are all given to an opponent, and the opponent rolls those. So here's what the opponent rolled. The opponent rolled a crown, which is something that you want. Unfortunately, your opponent rolled it by doing the scroll roll, and they get to keep that crown for future turns. So basically, they're 1 crown up, and you're 1 symbol down, or you're 1 dice down at that point. They rolled 2 of these skulls, which come back to you, and they also rolled 1 of these daggers, which they can give to any player. This is a 2-player game. It would be given right back to you. 3 daggers, turns over, play immediately goes to the other person. Let's say instead that they rolled a scroll again, or it could have been another one of these skulls. Well, both of those symbols come back to the original player. So what's the original player got at this point? He's got 2 daggers, he's down 1 dice, he's got 3 of these skulls. 5 skulls will get you a victory token, but I can't get those at this point because I only have 4 dice to roll. And I've got a scroll, which does nothing for me. So what can you do? Well, you can re-roll dice in this game on your turn. You can re-roll your skulls, but if you re-roll 1 skull, you have to re-roll all skulls. You can re-roll scrolls, but if you re-roll 1, you have to re-roll them all. And you can choose to re-roll basically all of these symbols. So I'm going to take all 4 of these dice, I'm going to re-roll, because I need to try to get 3 crowns. And unfortunately, I got 3 daggers. So my turn would immediately be over, but since we have a scroll, we still resolve that. The other player gets that. They get to roll it. And it was a skull, so it doesn't do anything. Had it been, let's say, another crown, they would have been able to keep that for their turn. They don't have to re-roll these when the dice are then passed to them. So they would get the dice back. They're 1 crown up. Now they're going to take all 6 of the dice that were passed to them. They're going to roll these. Well, what did they roll? They rolled 2 daggers, 2 crowns. So now they have 3 crowns already, but they also have 2 daggers, which is dangerous. They have 1 skull, which they don't have to do anything with, but they have a scroll. Scroll passes back to the other player. Player rolls it. They roll the scroll. So no harm, no foul comes back to them. This person is probably going to say, you know what? I'm just going to take the victory token, and I'll pass you back all of the dice at that point. Had this been rolled as a dagger, The dagger would have come back to the active player, and what would have happened then is this third crown that was rolled doesn't matter. If you get 3 daggers, either by your own roll or by your opponent's roll when they're rolling scrolls for you, you do not get anything on your turn. That basically ends your turn immediately. You get none of the tokens, and you'd be done. So you'd be doing that back and forth with a 2-player game, or a 4-player game. You'd be going around in a circle with everybody, trying to collect 3 of these victory points, and that is the basic game of Dice of Crowns. Now let's go to my thoughts. Okay, so what are my final thoughts on Dice of Crowns? Well, as I said before, everything about the production is top-notch. We have a nice tin here with an embossed lid. We've got nice high-quality etched dice that are colored, this nice little player marker, victory marker, however you want to put it. We have these nice little tokens that are etched, and they have specific symbols on them, so they have them spared in the art there. Again, also we have the really unique kind of set of rules here that are on this kind of weird paper that doesn't seem to absorb water, won't stain, and you can wrinkle it, but it's really hard to, I wouldn't imagine, being able to tear this if you tried. So this is the kind of thing that you can take to a pub or a restaurant and not have to worry about the components. Everything's plastic. You're not going to have to worry about any cardboard tokens. I mean, very easily these could have been cardboard tokens, but they went with the thick little plastic kind of etched buttons here. Great, you know what I mean? This is the kind of game you can take someplace. You're not going to have to worry about it. They have a nice little heft to them. You can hear them kind of bouncing around there. And, went the extra mile, made this little victory marker and everything. So it's really nice. Again, I showed you the very basic game. We've got a couple of variants listed here. You've got basically the Mistress of Fate variant. You've got the Last Stand rules, the Advanced Play rules, Legendary Dice rolls. Those allow you to do different things. Legendary Dice rolls give you, well, if you roll this, kind of combination, this effect takes place, or you get this extra thing. The Mistress of Fate one allows you to use these Fate tokens, which allow you to re-roll dice or interrupt other people's turns and make them re-roll dice. So there's a lot of variation to this, so you can get more advanced. I was just showing you the basic game. Kind of does a little bit of a disservice, but you probably start there and go from that. Player count-wise, I would say 2 to 4 is the sweet spot. I've noticed that if I try it with higher counts, 5 or 6, that the dice, since you can lock them to other people, you don't always have to lock them to the same people if you're re-rolling scrolls. They can tend to run out on people's turns, and then people can't really do much on their turns. So if you have higher player counts, that becomes a problem. So I would focus probably on the lower player counts, 2 to 4. 2, you have a good back and forth kind of game. 4, you can kind of mess with other people around the table. So I really like that. Overall, I think that Thing 12 Games, which is for us kind of a local game company, did a really great job on this. I'm really impressed with it. Like it. Everybody I played it with has had fun with it. Again, don't expect anything really super deep out of it. It is a filler game. You're going to play a couple of rounds of this maybe at the beginning of game day to get warmed up, or maybe in between heavier games, or while you're waiting for other things to start, or in a restaurant or a bar, that kind of thing. So, final thoughts though are, this is a game worth picking up. It's got a nice price point, around $15 right now. I think you can get this, or will be able to get this maybe at some point online, or at least through their website. So go ahead and take a look. Again, I'm going to give this one a strong recommendation, a good thumbs up. That is Dice of Crowns, roll the dice, backstab friends, seize the crown, and until next time, Meeple Bunker, out.